A powerful roar shatters the jungle's silence as the mother tiger leaps from the shadows. Wounded but still fierce, her rage is unstoppable. Nets are cast, spears are raised, but she refuses to surrender. Her bravery shakes the forest. But how did the hunters track her and her cubs? To understand, we must go back, 1 month earlier, to a small village in the Sundarbans. The air is thick with the scent of earth, and jungle birds call from the trees. Here, mangrove forests stretch endlessly, and rivers coil like serpents across the land. It is a place of breathtaking beauty, but also of hardship. In this village lives an old woman named Mala. She knows struggle well. Every morning as the sun rises, she walks to her small field. Her hands, calloused from years of toil, dig into the soil. Her back aches, her legs tremble, yet she works without complaint, because she must. Under a nearby tree, her son Raju sits idly. Young and strong, he despises the fields and the jungle. His dreams are filled with city lights, fast money, and an escape from the sweat and dust of village life. "Ma!" Raju calls sharply. "I need money. I'm going to the city." Mala pauses, wiping sweat from her brow with her sari. She looks at her son, heart heavy. She has heard these words before. Raju always speaks of riches, of returning a wealthy man. But Mala knows the truth. The city is a place of promises, many of them broken. Yet, as always, she cannot deny him. With a sigh, she reaches into the folds of her sari, pulling out a small bundle of rupees, her meager savings from selling herbs and fruits in the market. "Here," she says, handing him the money. "But be careful, Raju. The city is not like the village. It can be dangerous." Raju snatches the money without gratitude. Brushing dust from his clothes, he smirks. "Don't worry, Ma. I'll come back rich. You'll see." Mala wants to believe him, to trust that one day he will return and care for her as she has always cared for him. But deep down she knows better. His gaze holds no love, only indifference. Without a second glance, Raju walks away, his footsteps crunching on the dry earth. Mala watches him disappear, her heart breaking with every step. She wants to call out, to beg him to stay, but the words lodge in her throat. Alone in her field, the sun scorching her weary shoulders, Mala does not cry. She cannot. There is too much work to do. Taking a deep breath, she grips her hoe and returns to the soil. The village is quiet, save for the rustling leaves carried by the wind. After Raju's departure, Mala has no choice but to venture deeper into the jungle. Her fields do not yield enough, and the market is too far to visit daily. She must forage, gathering fruits, herbs, anything to eat or sell. The villagers warn her. "The jungle is no place for an old woman," they whisper. "Tigers, snakes, spirits, they will harm you." But Mala has no choice. Fear takes a back seat to hunger and loneliness, pushing her step by step into the tree's shadowed embrace. One afternoon, when the sun is high, Mala strays farther than ever before. The village's familiar sounds have faded. Now, only rustling leaves, bird calls, and the occasional distant roar of a tiger reach her ears. She moves cautiously, eyes scanning the ground for herbs, ears alert for danger. Then she hears it, a low, pained growl. Mala freezes, heart hammering. She turns toward the sound. Just a few steps away lies a tiger, no ordinary one. She is massive, her golden fur matted with blood, her breaths labored. Her sharp eyes, once full of strength, now flicker with pain. Mala's first instinct is to flee. Every muscle in her body screams for escape, but something holds her still. Perhaps it's the way the tiger's growl softens when their eyes meet, or the exhaustion in her trembling frame, or maybe it's the faint whimper from her swollen belly. She is pregnant. Mala's fear melts into something else, compassion. She has spent a lifetime caring for others, even when they didn't deserve it. Now, before her, lies a creature in desperate need. Slowly, cautiously, Mala steps closer, her voice soft but steady. "Shh, I won't hurt you." The tiger growls but weakly, almost a plea. Mala kneels beside her, hands trembling. She examines the wound, deep and bleeding. The tiger's belly stirs. Her cubs are ready to be born. Mala knows what must be done. Gathering nearby herbs, she crushes them into a paste to stop the bleeding. As she works, she murmurs gentle reassurances. Then, the moment comes. The tiger lets out a low cry, and Mala helps deliver two small cubs, their fur slick and eyes tightly shut. The mother licks them clean, her movements slow but full of gratitude. Back at the edge of the village, the sun rises, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold. Inside her hut, Mala prepares her morning meal when a low, familiar growl reaches her ears, not one of threat, but of curiosity. Stepping outside, she gasps. In the early light stands the tiger. Beside her, wobbling on unsteady legs, are her cubs. Mala's first instinct is to retreat, but she hesitates. The tiger is calm, simply standing there, her cubs nuzzling against her. It feels as though she has come to say thank you. Carefully, Mala steps forward. The tiger doesn't move. Another step, then another. Close enough now, Mala sees the faint scars on the tiger's side, the wound she once healed. You came back, Mala whispers, voice thick with emotion. The tiger lets out a soft growl, almost a purr, and nudges one of her cubs forward. The tiny creature stumbles toward Mala, sniffing her fingers before licking them with a rough sandpaper tongue. In that instant, fear vanishes. A warmth Mala hasn't felt in years fills her heart. She looks up at the tiger, and for the first time in ages, she smiles. From that day, the tiger becomes a part of Mala's life. Each morning she waits outside her hut, her cubs playing at her feet, and every morning, Mala steps out to greet them, her heart swelling with a joy she thought was lost. The tiger is more than a visitor. She is a guide. She leads Mala to hidden groves overflowing with fruit, to clear streams teeming with fish, to secret places where rare herbs grow. With the tiger by her side, Mala no longer struggles. Her baskets are full. Her belly is never empty. But it is more than mere survival. The tiger is her companion, her friend. They walk together through the jungle, the cubs scampering ahead, their playful growls echoing among the trees. Mala speaks to the tiger as though she understands, and sometimes it feels like she does. One evening, as the jungle dims into twilight, Mala shares a meal with the tiger outside her hut. She tosses a piece of bread to the cubs, laughing as they pounce clumsily. The tiger watches her, golden eyes soft in the fading light. For the first time in years, Mala feels at peace. The crushing loneliness has lifted, replaced by a sense of belonging she never imagined possible. But peace, as we will soon see, does not last forever. The midday sun casts sharp shadows as a group of strangers arrives in the village, their presence stirring unease. They are hunters, rugged, greedy men with nets, spears, and traps. Among them, nervous and out of place, stands Raju. Yes, Raju, Mala's son. He has returned, not as the rich man he once promised to be, but as a desperate guide. He knows of the tiger, but not her cubs. He only knows she is valuable. To the right buyer, the village watches in hushed worry. Tigers are sacred here, the jungle is not to be disturbed. But the hunters do not care. And inside her hut, Mala grinds herbs, unaware that danger is coming. Mala crept forward, staying hidden in the shadows. She strained to hear their conversation, and what she caught sent a chill through her. Raju's voice was low and unsteady. The tiger is deep in the jungle. She's massive. The biggest I've ever seen. She'll fetch a fortune. One of the hunters smirked cruelly. You sure you can take us to her? Raju hesitated before nodding. I know the way, but we have to be careful. The jungle is dangerous. The hunters laughed, their laughter harsh and mocking. We're not scared of a few trees, one sneered. Let's go. Mala's hands trembled as she clutched the edge of her sari. She couldn't let this happen. She couldn't let them harm the tiger, her friend, her companion. But what could she do? She was just one old woman against armed men. Still, she had to try. As the hunters gathered their weapons and moved toward the jungle, Mala slipped away, her heart pounding. She had to warn the tiger. She moved as fast as her aging legs could carry her, breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The jungle loomed ahead, dark and foreboding. Mala pushed forward, eyes darting through the shadows. She called out softly, her voice trembling. "Where are you? Please, you must hide. They're coming." But the jungle was vast, and the tiger could be anywhere. Mala ran deeper, stumbling over roots and stones. Behind her, the hunters moved swiftly, their voices growing louder as they cut through the dense foliage. Time was slipping away. The hunters were relentless, their traps set, their weapons ready. Raju followed, his face a mask of unease and greed. He wasn't in charge, just a desperate guide willing to do anything for money. They found the tiger's den, a peaceful place where sunlight streamed through the trees. But today it would not remain peaceful. The hunters advanced with eager, greedy eyes. Near the den's entrance, two cubs played, their golden fur soft, their innocent eyes wide with curiosity. They had no idea of the danger. Then the trap sprang. Nets flew through the air, snapping shut around them. The cubs cried out, their tiny growls laced with fear. A hunter whistled, his eyes gleaming. "Look at these beauties," he said, voice thick with greed. "They're worth twice what the big one is." The others grinned. "Forget the mother," one of them said. "The cubs are the real prize." Raju shifted uneasily. He hadn't known about the cubs, only the mother. But now, as he saw the hunter's excitement, his doubt wavered. Maybe this would still work out in his favor. Then, the jungle erupted. The mother tiger emerged from the shadows like a storm, golden eyes blazing with fury. Her roar split the air, a sound so powerful it made even the most hardened hunters shudder. But they were ready. They circled her, spears raised, faces grim. She lunged, claws flashing, teeth bared, fighting with the ferocity of a mother protecting her young. But she was outnumbered. A net tangled around her legs. A spear's blunt end struck her, sending her crashing to the ground. She roared again, pain and defiance in her voice. Then Mala burst into the clearing, breathless, her face streaked with sweat and tears. She saw the trapped cubs, the struggling tiger, the hunters closing in. And Raju, standing to the side, a gun trembling in his hands. "Stop!" Mala cried, her voice breaking. The hunters barely spared her a glance, but Raju turned, sneering. "What are you doing here, Ma?" he snapped. "This is none of your business. Go home." Mala stepped forward, pleading. "Raju, this isn't right. She's not just a tiger, she's a mother. She's my friend. Please don't do this." Raju scoffed. "She's just an animal. The cubs are worth more than you can imagine." His eyes gleamed with greed. "This is what you always wanted, Ma, money, security." Mala shook her head, voice trembling. "I never wanted money. I only wanted you to be a good man." Raju's expression darkened. He ordered her to move, but she stood firm, arms spread wide to shield the tiger. "You'll regret this forever," she whispered. For a moment, doubt flickered in Raju's eyes, but greed swallowed it whole. His face hardened. "Move," he ordered. But before he could act, the tiger broke free. Blood streaked her golden fur, but she was not defeated. Her gaze locked onto Raju. Recognition dawned in her. Burning eyes, the traitor, the one who led the hunters here. Her muscles coiled. Raju stumbled back, terror twisting his features. "Stay back," he shouted. "Somebody do something." But before the tiger could pounce, Mala stepped between them. "No," she cried. "Please." The tiger hesitated, golden eyes flickering to Mala. For a moment the jungle held its breath. Mala stepped forward, shielding Raju. "Please," she whispered. "He is my son. He has done wrong, but please spare him." The tiger growled low, her fury still crackling in the air. But she did not attack. Instead, she took a step back. Her body remained tense, but her gaze softened. But Raju saw the retreat as weakness. Fear gave way to rage. His eyes darted to a fallen gun. Before anyone could stop him, he seized it, hands shaking. "She's just an animal," he hissed, and she's worth more dead than alive. Mala lunged. "No, Raju!" she screamed. But it was too late. The gunshot shattered the jungle. The tiger let out a deep guttural groan, her body shuddering as she fell. Her golden eyes met Mala's one last time, filled with pain, sorrow, and something that felt like forgiveness. Mala dropped to her knees, hands shaking as she touched the dying tiger. Tears streamed down her face. The hunters cheered, but Mala heard only silence. The unbearable, suffocating silence as the tiger's eyes dimmed. The hunters, triumphant, carried the caged cubs through the jungle. Raju followed, pale and trembling. But greed ruins even the best laid plans. "These cubs will make us rich," one hunter crowed. But Raju's eyes narrowed. "Wait," he snapped. "I led you here. I deserve a bigger share." The hunters' laughter died. The leader, a scarred man, stepped forward, his gaze turning cold. "You led us here, but we did the work. Don't push your luck, boy." Raju bristled. "I deserve half." The air grew thick with tension. The leader grabbed Raju's collar, voice low and threatening. "You have no right to make demands." Raju struggled, panic flickering in his eyes. The cage fell, the cubs scrambling free. The hunters cursed, their focus shifting. Raju lunged for a cub. "They're mine!" he shouted, desperation in his voice. The hunters moved to stop him, but his foot found empty air. Time slowed, his face twisted in horror as he realized he was at the cliff's edge. The ground crumbled beneath him. His scream cut through the jungle as he plunged into the abyss. Raju loses his balance, the cub slipping from his grasp. "No!" he screams, his voice piercing the jungle as he plummets. The hunters watch in stunned silence as he vanishes over the edge, his scream abruptly ending with a sickening crash against the rocks below. The jungle grows eerily quiet, only the rustling leaves whispering in the wind. The hunters exchange uneasy glances, their faces pale with fear. "We need to get out of here," one mutters. "If anyone finds out, we're finished." Without hesitation, they abandon the cubs and flee, their footsteps fading into the dense jungle, leaving behind only the chilling memory of Raju's fall. Huddled together in the bushes, the cubs tremble, their golden eyes wide with confusion and fear. Then Mala arrives, stumbling into the clearing, her face streaked with tears. Her heart feels as heavy as stone as she takes in the scene. The empty cage, the cliff's edge, the cubs cowering. Her knees give way, and she collapses, her sobs echoing through the trees. But even in her grief, she knows she cannot give up. Crawling forward, her hands shaking, she reaches for the cubs. "It's okay," she whispers, her voice trembling. "I'm here now, I'll protect you." The cubs nuzzle against her, their tiny bodies warm against her own, their soft growls comforting in the midst of her sorrow. For a moment, the jungle itself seems to soften, its shadows lifting, offering a silent promise of peace. Under Mala's care, the cubs grow quickly. Her once quiet hut fills with playful growls and the soft patter of paws. They chase each other in the sunlit space, their golden fur gleaming. She watches them with a smile, a warmth she thought she had lost forever now filling her heart. As days turn to weeks and weeks to months, the cubs grow stronger, their playful antics becoming bolder, their roars louder. Mala teaches them what she can, how to navigate the jungle, find food, and stay safe. But more than survival, she teaches them love. At first, the villagers keep their distance, wary of the jungle predators. But as time passes, they witness the tiger's unwavering loyalty to Mala, and their fear begins to fade. One day, as Mala walks through the village with the tigers by her side, a pack of wild dogs appears, their hungry eyes glinting. The villagers freeze, fear gripping them. But before the dogs can come closer, the tigers step forward, their strong bodies forming an unshakable barrier. A low, deep growl rumbles from their throats, their golden eyes burning with warning. The wild dogs, sensing danger, whimper and retreat, disappearing into the underbrush. The villagers watch in awe, their fear melting into respect. They no longer see the tigers as threats but as protectors, guardians of the jungle and of Mala. Years pass, and Mala, now older and frailer, spends her days beneath a large tree near her hut, the tigers resting at her feet. She gazes out at the jungle, peace filling her heart. She has built a life of love, loyalty, and understanding, and for that she is grateful. One evening, as the sun sets and the jungle hums with life, Mala breathes her last. Her hand rests gently on the head of one of her beloved tigers as she passes away, a peaceful smile on her lips. The villagers who have come to cherish her hold a ceremony in her honor. They light candles, offer flowers, and share stories of her kindness and bravery. The tigers, now fully grown and majestic, sit silently outside her hut, their golden eyes reflecting their sorrow. They seem to understand. Their protector, their mother, is gone, but the jungle calls to them. Its voice, soft yet insistent, beckons. One by one, the tigers rise and step into the wild. They do not look back, their heads held high as they disappear into the shadows of the trees. The villagers watch in silent reverence, their hearts heavy yet hopeful. The tigers return to the jungle, not as lost cubs, but as powerful guardians. Their roars echo through the treetops, a reminder of Mala's legacy, of the unbreakable bond between human and nature. And so the story ends with the tigers standing atop a hill, their golden coats glowing beneath the moonlight. They let out one final thunderous roar, a sound that carries through the jungle and into the hearts of all who hear it. The moral of the story? If you help a tiger, you may just end up with jungle VIPs as your bodyguards. But be careful. One day, they might inherit your house.